Hi, everybody. This is Michael Miller from St. Paul the Apostle Church. I've been thinking about you. Um, been started out thinking about just all the many things that have been disrupted with this whole pandemic that we're experiencing. And as I was going through bringing certain things to mind, I thought about all the people who receiving their sacraments is being deferred to a later date. And in particular, I was thinking about people who were anticipating receiving their sacraments at the Easter Vigil. And now that's going to be pushed back, I think, maybe to Pentecost. I'm not exactly sure when at this point, but to a later date. So I was thinking how disappointing that is. And I just wanted to reach out and share a couple of thoughts with you that hopefully will be a source of encouragement to you. You might not know this, but my wife and I, my wife Wendy, we were just received into the Catholic Church last May, and we weren't able to do it at the Easter Vigil for different reasons, obviously. My wife and I, because we're both active church musicians, we had musical duties tied in with the Easter Vigil that really made it very difficult, for us to participate also in receiving sacraments at that time. And our sponsor, one of our sponsors, was a church musician from the cathedral. So there was a whole network of musicians that were trying to get together, and the Easter Vigil was just not an option. So, Father Peter was very supportive, and we chose a date later in the Easter season, which was very appropriate to do. But I remember having a pang of regret in my heart that we weren't able to enter into the church on Easter Vigil, just because it's so rich and full of meaning. So I want you to know I have a degree of empathy with what you're going through. And then the other thought that I really kind of want to challenge you to embrace, and I don't know that I can get it all across right here, but in the church, in the life of the church, we have a very different way that we approach time and that we think about time. Most of the time in our normal day-to-day interactions, time is this very linear thing, chronological. And so, we see the Easter Vigil as happening, at 9 p.m. on Saturday, April 11th, 2020. The reality is that in the life of the church, there's a way in which we're always experiencing Easter Vigil, like we're always about Easter Vigil. So if you think back to, like in the Old Testament, when the great act of deliverance for the people of Israel was when God led them through Moses, led them out of Egypt, through the Red Sea, delivered them from Pharaoh's hand. And so that became the defining moment of deliverance, and they would celebrate that in the Passover meal. And whenever they would sit down for the Passover meal, no matter whether it was the next year or 100 years after, whether it was a generation that had literally gone through the Exodus event or several generations later, they always spoke of it as if they were there. It was an enduring reality in their lives that defined every day and every moment of every day. And so I want you to try to see this delay in when chronologically you're going to receive your sacraments. I want you to see it as an opportunity to really start practicing something that's really important for us as Catholics. And that is every time we come to the Mass, understanding that we're participating in the ongoing reality of the sacrifice of Jesus Christ and what he's done, and we get to participate in the redemption of the world. It's kind of a mystical idea. It's a different way of looking at time. One other thought that might be helpful, I wrote a little piece on the church calendar not too long ago. I'm not sure if you had a chance to read it, but a little piece on the church calendar where basically I made an analogy to a bicycle. And we have all these different parts to the church calendar that we talk about. But like a bicycle, when I get on my bike and ride my bike, I'm not just riding one component of my bike. I'm not just riding the front wheel, or I'm not just riding the rear wheel or the seat or the pedals. I'm riding the entire bicycle every time I get on the bike to ride. And so that might be maybe a good way to think too about our life within the church. Um, we're always about the Easter Vigil. It's something we're perpetually about. So I hope that's an encouragement to you all. You're in my prayers.